there's so much of business and our world is dominated by this patriarchal, masculine structure that just doesn't suit the feminine energy. And we all have masculine and feminine energy within us. So how can we access that and open up to it to let's see what happens when the feminine energy has its voice and is able to flow in the way that it needs to and wants to, which is different to how it did when we were younger. Hello, welcome to the Weekly Brew here at Redefining Success with Emma and Iona. Welcome, Iona.
Welcome, Emma. This is a space where we share our journey that we're on to create a soul-led business and activate abundance in our life. So, Emma, what is brewing for us this week?
Well, what's brewing massively this week is perimenopause and creating a soul-led business while we're in the depths and throes of perimenopause.
Yeah, and we were just reflecting that, most people build businesses when they're a lot younger, when they have the energy and the mental capacity to do that. Not that we don't, because we do. There's just a lot of holes there. We're trying to remember things and they're just gone. We are finding, and I'm sure a lot of women our age would be in a similar position, that as a woman, often it is down to the woman to raise the kids or to put a lot of input into that in general. And this is definitely the situation we found ourselves in, is having chosen to really be there for our kids and to prioritize that for the last 20 years. And now we are coming through that, where our children are becoming more independent and we have more space. And we want to actualize our lives and create our gifts from all the transformational work we've been doing over the years, because we haven't just been raising kids. We've had that chance to go in and really look at ourselves, but we want to bring that out now. And that means making a business, activating abundance. And for our souls, that is the journey we've been led on. It's really important to us. And yet we at this time of life where energy is flagging and there's symptoms that are really hard to deal with in that type of business environment where consistency and showing up and that masculine energy is so prevalent.
Yeah, we're bang in the thick of perimenopause and also coming out of this 20-year era really of raising children. Well, that was the priority for both of us, and we did do other stuff. We did do bits and bobs of work and we did do some phenomenal things. I mean, we ran a festival for a start, so that's pretty cool. But and we've done a lot of deep inner work and we've had really deep life-changing experiences in those years. So we've come through that, and now we want to bring all that into sharing what we know as a business to the world. And then boom, just as we're doing that, we get perimenopause. And so where we used to have regular monthly cycles, you could have all of that monthly cycle we've discovered in one day or over the course of a week. So one day you're full of energy, the next day you're completely floored. I've had hormonal migraines. Iona's had one as well, which completely floor you. And then there's a recovery period after that, just lethargy, not remembering one thing to the next. There's so many symptoms: heat, cold for me, skin prickling, and tiredness and nausea, similar to pregnancy nausea. It has been for me. So how do you keep showing up when these symptoms can happen within the space of a few hours or sometimes over the space of a few weeks? But the key is you never really know what's going to happen one moment to the next sometimes. And how do we hold ourselves? These are all the questions and the things that we're working with now. How do we hold ourselves tenderly with care when we want things to be done at a particular time, but we also have to give space for for the changing women, because we are women evolving into something new. We're in that birth canal not only with the business, but also with our bodies and with ourselves.
And it really is a time of dissolving, I feel. You know, there's identities dissolving of how we were mothering before, and there is, you know, it's like being in a chrysalis where everything turns to goo, you know, and sometimes we can't remember what we wanted to say. It's just gone. It's like I feel like there's a net in my brain with loads of holes, and if the thought falls down the hole, it's gone. I've got to get to the next thought, you know, or just be in the hole. So it's not easy to be dealing with that, and yet we also trusting that there's a gift in it. And what does that gift want to reveal? Not only for us, but as a lesson for the collective, as a lesson for how we want to treat ourselves as women creating businesses, as women in middle age creating businesses. And we have definitely given ourselves permission to really listen to our bodies, because we've done a lot of feminine embodiment work, and we know that that is priority. If we're not listening to our bodies, if we're not really in tune with ourselves, then we're not going to be in tune with anything we create or anything we put out. So we prioritize that. If we're not feeling well, you know, taking care of ourselves. And yet we also have strategy meetings where this is what we want to get done over this time. And we had a conversation this morning around how that would be possible to still be consistent, to still do those things, but to know that it's flexible. It doesn't have to be done on this day, by this time. You know, it's flexible within a holding of what's important.
Yeah. Actually, that reminds me of bringing my kids up. When I used to say, we've got bouncy boundaries. So so there was a holding container, but there was flexibility within that. And it was a bit like you can bounce off them and push the edges, but you will be held in that. And I will be there holding you. And so you can bounce as much as around as much as you like, and you can explore as much as you like, but you will be held. And I feel like that's what we're bringing to ourselves here, that there's so much of business and our world is dominated by this patriarchal, masculine structure that just doesn't suit the feminine energy. And we all have masculine and feminine energy within us. So how can we access that and open up to it, to let's see what happens when the feminine energy has its voice and is able to flow in the way that it needs to and wants to, which is different to how it did when we were younger and when we were teenagers, in our 20s, when we became mothers, when we did all the different things we're doing. This stage that we're in is extremely different to anything else we've experienced as women. And so what needs to flow, and how can we hold it with love and tenderness, and not have to become like a man, not have to do business in the way that's traditionally done, in that very hardcore structured masculine energy way. We don't want to do that. We want to change it and honour ourselves, be honest, come with integrity and say, this is what we're feeling, so how can we work with that? How can we hold ourselves in that lovely structure that's flexible, which is masculine energy, but just in a different way, and that will enable us to flow in the best way that we can and be, I think, be more productive as a result of it.
And one of the gifts that I feel this brings is you just don't have the capacity to have masks. You don't have the capacity to hold stuff that isn't authentic, to be with what's essential, because you've only got limited energy, limited capacity, and you want to use it to maximum efficiency. So all of the masks have to drop. I don't have time to pretend to be something that I'm not. And what's interesting, when Emma and I planted our little oak the other day to seed our business, as we were digging the hole for the oak, we unearthed this little mask, which was like a porcelain face. It was so strange. It was kind of broken a little bit. But what a thing to unearth as we were planting this ritual oak. And we realized that we are unearthing the masks that current business often wears, where you got to pretend to be something you're not. What we are really standing for, and what perimenopause is forcing us into as well, is just to be ourselves, to show up authentically as we are in this moment and connect with what is here, what is now. Because ultimately we only have this present moment. This is all that's real. Yeah. So why put a mask on it? Let's be with what's real. Let's be with the essence of life. And then we've got something real to work with. Then the connection that we're having is real. We had an interview yesterday.
Yeah.
And we both showed up, and we were quite tired before the interview, and it was going to be quite difficult to do it. And what we did was we took time to just stop, pause, really go in and give ourselves permission to show up authentically as we were, make space for our tiredness, make space for our low energy. We're here to have a genuine connection. We're not here to pretend to be anything. Let's just have this genuine, beautiful connection in the moment with what's real. And that's what we did. And it was so lovely to really give ourselves that permission to do that and to honor those places.
It was, and it actually made for a better interview. And it'll be on our YouTube channel. It was a wonderful interview that we did. And we actually, I think through that there is something really potent, not just for women of our age, but for women in business, and for businesses to understand, and maybe for structures to change a bit around this, that if a woman is able to come to the workplace or her own business, however it is, in a way that is in complete harmony with where she is with her body in the cycle, the perimenopause, whatever part time that she's in, there'll be more production, there'll be more creative ideas, there'll be more expansion, more evolution of that business, because women need particular time out where we can rest and where the creativity comes in, and then we have a more productive time around ovulation. Of course that shifts in perimenopause, where we're really buzzing, we're really active, and we feel like we can take on the world. And this is, so in perimenopause, that's just like boom, 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 boom. All of that can happen at any time. And so in a way it just takes a bit of time to tune into and to think, this is what's going on. So just for half an hour I need time out, and then I can be active again.
It is quite incredible just making space and time to witness what needs to be held. Can shift it completely. For us, just taking 5 minutes to be silent, to connect in where we were yesterday, and to say we can show up in our authenticity, and we can give these parts permission to show up as they are. It just relaxes everything, and then new energy emerges, and may or may not, but it allows everything to settle. Yeah. You aren't trying to resist the process as much. So what Emma's saying is to listen to the body and just make space for all those parts of you that need holding, that need to be heard, that need attention. And I do think this is the great gift of the feminine. Yeah. There's a lot of talk at the moment of the returning feminine, of the rising feminine, and the balance that's needed with strong patriarchal masculine systems that we've created, needing to be more balanced. And it is this, just tune in, men and women, each moment. What are you with? What are your emotions? Can you make space for all parts of you to be present to whatever you're dealing with, whoever you're engaging with, and slowing down to enable those parts to first come to ease. So it's having that relationship with yourself that's in integrity first, so that there you can go out and be in integrity with whatever you're engaging with in the world.
And also, when you give yourself that time for all your parts, to the parts of you to settle and have a bit of stillness, it also enables all those parts to be seen. And so much of feminine, just being a woman, and feminine wisdom hasn't been seen. And so if we can all take a big collective breath and begin to see these parts, there's extraordinary wisdom and extraordinary creativity and connection, and well, who even knows what, all the unknown stuff that the female wisdom, the female body, the female brain, heart births and brings to the world. And I feel like the more that we can give that space to be held in its entirety, the more it can be seen, and the more everything, the systems can open up to connecting with it and working with it, and we can readdress that imbalance that's happening at the moment.
Yeah, and I don't think we can have this conversation without talking about the fear of the feminine.
Yeah,
and this has been so etched in our history. If we look at the burning of the witches and how women have always been the underdog, especially in our current society, we've had to fight for our rights to vote, to work, to be recognized as equal to men. It's been a long slog for women to bring that. And I feel underneath that is a fear of the feminine. You know, what's if we allow ourselves to slow down, to tune in, to not meet those deadlines? I think there's a fear that immediately would come up in a masculine brain. I'm not talking about men, I'm talking about people who, we must meet that deadline, this has to be done, da-da-da-da-da. There's a fear that I can't relax, I have to be on all the time, and if I'm not, everything's going to fall apart, the balls are all going to drop. But actually, I think that is coming from a fear. It's coming from an overactive nervous system. And actually, when we do slow down and when we give all parts of ourselves space to be heard and to come into a relationship with ourselves, then we can move forward much more integrated, much more whole, and actually much more efficiently. So it's not that things don't get done. They just get done in a much more creative way, a much more balanced way, a way that's in harmony, that invites in new ideas, that's connected to life, that is in flow with life. And therefore, it's not going to cause the destruction and the harm that pure linear masculine energy often does on its own when it isn't in union with the feminine. The masculine energy is amazing. We absolutely need it. You know, we need foundations, we need strategy, we need to know, hey, we're going there and we committed to that and this is our plan to get there. But within that, can we tune in? Can we listen to the wisdom of the feminine? Hey, not today, but maybe tomorrow we'll tune in again. And just trust the feminine. Trust the feminine will get us there even more efficiently when she has space to, all those parts of ourselves has space to be heard and to work with that masculine.
Yeah. This is what women do all the time. We hold everything. Mostly like the masculine brain will be thinking about one thing at a time and the goal it's reaching, and at the end of the day they'll go to bed and they'll think, oh yeah, I had a great day at work, they'll put the book down or turn the TV off and all the kids are asleep and everyone's happy, da-da-da. The women will be thinking, okay, so I did that, I did this, I managed to get that done, I had to get that done. Is there, are the bills paid? What have the kids got in their lunch boxes for tomorrow? Have we got everything sorted on the timetables? Do I need to be here? Do I need to be there? What shopping needs to be done? Our brains never stop. And so in that sense of holding the entirety, and so if we can take that space and let all of that settle, it's like the image I'm getting is like there's seeds of other things coming through that want to be seen. We want to be seen. We want to be. These are skills that we can bring to the world. We see the wholeness of everything, and we can bring that to business and the workplace and our personal businesses. And those are skills that can be applied really well. And they're the things that take time to navigate, but the outcome will be amazing and far less stressful. So we need the wholeness and we need the linear action taking of the masculine, but we need them to work in harmony. So on that note, here's to redefining success.
See you next time.
So much love.